Hi, I'm Georgette Farkas for Great Performances Catering, and we're here to bring you hospitality at home, bringing you our catering expertise so that you can entertain your friends with tons of bright, fresh, bold flavors and a few of the tricks that we can share to make it a little simpler, a little easier, and maybe a little cooler in summertime. So what better way than with some pasta salads? I just call them cold pastas, but you can call them pasta salads. These can all be made ahead. The garnishes can definitely be prepared ahead. So let's take a little tour here. So first of all, on the shapes of the pasta, if you're serving a room temperature pasta, you're going to do a small shape, not a long pasta like a spaghetti or a fettuccine. You're also probably going to avoid things like penne and rigatoni, the sort of tube shape. That's better in a in a hot sauce. So I have some rotelle, nice little wheels. These are called Vesuvio. They look a little bit like escargot. You could use radiatore, you could use gemelli. This is a sort of fancy type of gemelli. It's called ricciole, and it has a really lovely handmade sort of rough-hewn edge to it. They are all imported pastas. So now let's go to the garnishes. So this is probably the most unexpected and interesting combination of really bold flavors. I'm going to give credit to my colleague Chris because this is something he taught me. So let's look at the ingredients. They've all been roasted in a sheet pan. It's a wonderful dish where you can just throw everything in a sheet pan, toss it together, put it in the oven, walk away, and then toss it into your pasta. So what have we got here? We have sweet yellow peppers, we have lots of cherry tomatoes, and then some of the condiments. There are capers, there are black olives, there's just a bit of anchovy chopped up and added in. Now here's the surprise element, you might not expect this, yellow raisins. So it's a really interesting combination of sweet and savory, which is typical in the southern Mediterranean, a little bit of influence from coming up from Sardinia, Corsica, even North Africa, mixing those sweet and savory ingredients. So I call this my Sardinian pasta. I just made up the name. So this is going to be our farm stand pasta. Great Performances has a farm, Ketchke Farm, up in Kinderhook, New York, and they brought me some wonderful yellow zucchini. I had some beautiful little baby zucchini, so I actually grilled those ahead of time. So it's nice to get a little char that gives a flavor and a texture. It also gives an interesting aesthetic appeal. They brought me lots and lots of scallions. So the greens I cut up and just sauteed them a little bit, and then I grilled up the whites of the scallions, and those are going to get tossed together here. We're going to finish that also with some ricotta salata. So this ricciole, this is going to be finished with a pesto sauce, but my pesto technique is a little different. Some people say, oh, do you really have to do those steps? No, you don't have to, but here's what I suggest. So for my pesto, I always blanch the basil first. I think it's going to hold a brighter color. I think it's going to bring the flavor out a little more. It's going to last a little longer, although I love pesto so much I would probably eat it on, on shoe leather, so it's not going to last long in my house. So in any event, a little extra step, blanch it, shock it in cold water. That's that. I'm afraid another extra step, garlic. I think garlic is always better, a little bit cooked. So this is essentially garlic confit. It's garlic that's just been very slowly poached in olive oil. So you have the wonderful depth of flavor without that sharp bite. So a lot of people who tell you they don't like garlic, if you prepare it for them this way, confit or poached in olive oil, again, depth of flavor without that aggressive bite to it. Another little step, a little extra step that I take is toasting the pine nuts. The nuttiness comes out, it just has so much more depth of flavor if you toast them. So again, those little extra steps for pesto à la Georgette is blanch your basil, confit, slow poach your garlic, and toast your pine nuts. Plenty of Parmesan to be sure, and that's going to be tossed with these cherry tomatoes, again, thanks to Ketchke Farm. So simple, just halved, tossed in olive oil and garlic, roasted, and that's going to be a nice garnish to this pasta. So I think we should go ahead and make that pesto sauce. Let's do it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on that pesto sauce. So I've got my blanched basil. I wish you could smell this. that nice herbal, peppery smell. Yes, I am going to use all this garlic, but again, because it's been confit, you'll see that it has almost a nutty sweetness to it, not that aggressiveness of raw garlic. No raw garlic. All right, so we've got that. I'm going to start with just a little bit of this Parmesan. We'll add more as we go. Start with a little bit of these pine nuts. I love nuts. I would put nuts in everything, toasted nuts if you let me. Of course, we're going to need some olive oil. Now, there's some salt coming from that Parmesan, but we'll probably need a little bit more. So, and the basil has a natural pepperiness to it, but we're going to need some pepper nonetheless. Okay. Moment of truth. Let's let it rip. Okay, moment of truth. It has almost a sort of a creaminess to it. That's so good. I think we need a little bit more salt. I've never measured my pesto before, but I'll come up with some measurements for you, and you'll find all of these recipes on greatperformances.com. So, not to worry if you didn't weigh everything here with me today. Let me share this with you. So you see it's got almost a creaminess to it. Of course there's no cream in it, but that comes a little bit from the garlic confit, from the toasted pine nuts. It's really lovely. So I'm going to get all these top pastas tossed together. I'll be right back. So some finishing touches for this episode of Great Performances Hospitality at Home. We've got our pastas all tossed up. Just a few things to add. So the pesto is made with toasted pine nuts, but one can never have enough crunch. So let's just finish up with some pine nuts here. You see we've taken the roasted tomatoes and put them all around, just simply roasted with a little bit of olive oil and garlic and thyme. And rather than mixing it in, I think it's actually a much nicer presentation and much more pleasant to eat just like this. You don't need to mix everything together. So this is our pasta with pesto and roasted cherry tomatoes. This I call my farm stand pasta. It's got roasted yellow zucchini, green zucchini. There are scallions. I think to bring out the brightness of these vegetables, we're going to just really accentuate the lemon. So we're going to finish with some fresh lemon juice. And here we have Parmesan, but here we're going to finish with some ricotta salata. So we're just going to put some shards that will just go, oops, over the top, right down the middle. Ricotta salata, it's a sort of ricotta that's been a little tiny bit aged and dried so that it's solid and you can shave it into these nice shards. So here we go. My farm stand summer vegetable pasta with ricotta salata, lots of lemon. And finally here, my Sardinian Corsican pasta, no cheese, because the other flavors in this just don't call for it. As we said already, there's roasted cherry tomato, there is sweet yellow pepper that's been roasted with capers and olives and garlic, and a touch of anchovy and a touch of raisins. So we just don't want to add cheese to that. It's already bursting with flavor, and the cheese would be a contradiction. So there we go, our Corsican pasta with all these lovely roasted, bright vegetables. Our farm stand pasta with zucchini and scallions, lots of lemon, and some nicely shaved ricotta salata. And probably my favorite, a simple classic, but not so simple, deceptively, is this riccioli with our homemade pesto and roasted cherry tomato. So, hospitality at home, happy summer entertaining from great performances. Hope to see you back soon.